Hey, Chris. So we're talking about the Drop Star Mech, right? And it's got a couple things. So I thought since we're doing some ideation, I thought I would kind of walk you through what I am imagining this thing to be as I guess, sneeze here, maybe. As I imagine this thing to be in game. So first, let's talk about aesthetics a little bit. So there's two things I really like. I like this brutalist look that we've kind of got. It's very ominous here in terms of detailing, and it's got this armored feeling, right? So that's one piece. I think rotation wise, we probably aren't going to be at the same three-quarter perspective that we are normally for this because of the way it's going to come in and the way the player is going to interact with it. So the other thing is I really like here is basically about this screen. We have two screens here, right? So the thing is kind of like brutal aggression, but these things are brought in to either quell the populace or sometimes do invasion, but they can kind of have a dual role where they still have corporate marketing, they're very visible. And so one of the things here is we need to work on there'll be this very big Paltech digital force wall. And then the cool part is and also, by the way, I like there's something I like about these kind of like weird thruster bits, come up interesting bits here, but it's kind of a mix of those two things. We need to still, there's more that we need to do to make it ours, of course. Like we're gonna need some guns and a few other things, I think. But in terms of shape and sort of mood and feel, it's kind of a mix of those two things. And then the things that come out of these transports are essentially these drop mechs, like these drop star mech kind of things, right? So this is just about feeling. The thing I like the most about this is that we have this weird, odd, like head shape. I think we could even push it a little bit further, but I really like these like strange fins. I like that they're not fully recognized as asymmetric. There's something really cool about that. And then we have these really interesting like oversized like arm pad things and these big plates, and we got the undercarriage of machinery that I like. The feet I'm not super hot on, but curious. And then I think these guys are gonna have like like grenade launchers. I think that's kind of their thing. They're probably going to do a bunch of like grenade launching. So we'll need to think about some additional weaponry and things like that. But these are the things I really wanted to pull together. I also like this kind of portion of the chest and torso. So we're going to take it and make it ours, but that's sort of like the feeling that I like. So now, I've got some versions in game here. So here's what they look like. I'm still working on the setup and the size, but I've got two ways of thinking about this, right? One is that I really want these guys to be enormous, and so I know Dimitri's been thinking about maybe we could make this like a train, like a snake enemy, like what we did for the Paltech police barriers. So we could make these in segments, but the segments, the cars or whatever, they need to be big enough in order to accommodate these guys. So what's going to happen, right, is that this thing comes in, right? And I really kind of actually, I'm still working on it, but I kind of want, I want these things. This is too big, but it's almost like, and this is why I want to make them flat in terms of segment, but it's almost like I want them to take up like almost the whole screen space. They could come in, so they come in, right, and they last for several screens. They stick around, and then once they come in, like the guns are shooting, like right, like it's cool. And then these drop star mechs start materializing out of the force shield wall where the advertising is Paltech, our like Paltech mercenaries, buy your mercenaries from us because no one else will, blah blah blah, right? So and then these guys start whoosh, they like drop out, right, and there'll be multiple boosh, right, and boosh. And then they're gonna start, shooting their guns to like create like chaff and big like grenade launcher effects, and then the player's going to like have to deal with them, right? So so that's kind of the feeling I'm going for. I need to script that stuff together. There's some things on the engine side that I really want to see if we can do. that might feel pretty fun, like with how we build it. But I think one of the first things to do, let's just get the shapes right, because I think we need to address the shapes and the size of our textures right out of the gate. So I'll put the names. They're already in game now. You can see them. And then I think there's going to be a bunch of stuff renewed. This is a pretty elaborate setup, but I think this is going to be a really nice kind of almost like a big set piece enemy. The intention is to feel ominous, like it comes in and it eats up the whole screen. The player can collide with it, right? So these are big contrasts. They're not in the background, and and they're shooting at the player, so the player can do damage to them, right? And try their best to like kick their asses and whatnot. Probably need to put a health bar on these things now that I think about it. Boom. Yeah. So you're just like, I don't know if you could actually kill these things, but maybe you have supers or not. Like, but they're going to be really hard to kill. And then they're going to start, deploying their payload. So the other piece of this I have is, so that guy goes over here. I got a little shorty stack version, not quite great yet either. So this guy is in a 512 by 512. But kind of what I'm thinking is once we get the rotation, I think we're almost going to be full on side view, like very slight rotation, maybe just to see that edge, right? But I think it'll feel better because we're doing more vertical style gameplay here. But what I was thinking, right, is that if we've got this like we got these could be like multiple like cars, right? So like the snake enemy. And that might be cool too. So we could do our design where they're just like we have we have these guys. We have these guys, right? And so we could do the setup similar, and I think that'd be really cool. How these guys show up or whatever. So we have these segmented enemies and what that looks like, and we could do the same thing where we have like magnetic anti-gravity like field bindings that kind of pull the cars together, so they don't have to be connected, which will be great. But the player won't be able to fly between them. So I think that's kind of the gist of it. So what I really want to do is, before we get into a lot of detailing, let's get the shapes together. I really like, for the most part, this is very close to the perspective that I want to do for, like, we'll do it on our perspective, but stylistically, this is kind of looking for the mechs. And then we can just iterate on those first, and then take that as a starting point. Then we can think about, once we got the shapes, and if you want, throw some gun emplacements and things on these. And then we can go from there. So more work to be done, but I thought I'd just talk you through kind of the sort of what I'm thinking about right now, and trying to kind of struggle through the sort of like the feeling I'm trying to create, and the oppression. Like these things are going to take up half. Like at this point, they're going to take up almost. It's probably a tad bit large. Let me see here. So I mean, they're probably going to get squashed a little bit, I think. But so I think that they're going to, let's just ignore the fact that's the top. I think it's probably something like this. So they're going to come in, all the more reason to get the sizing together. They need to be big enough to obviously deploy these drop star mechs, because they're going to come out. And, and like they can be pretty tight fit in that respect. But the idea is I'm trying to really like make the player feel oppressed by this big machinery, right? Like this will be recurring enemy. It's not a sub boss or anything like that. Okay, I hope that helps kind of paint some of what I'm thinking. And I'm looking forward to again, maybe tomorrow, if you get through the renders, just give me some rough shapes in this kind of space. Feel free to paint right over this stuff now. And then we'll go from there. All right. I will talk to you soon. Thank you.